Welcome to The Bridge, the show that bridges the gap between Eastern and Western medicine, science and spirituality, physical and energetic health. If you're a leader seeking to heal from within, ultimately achieving the pinnacle of health and well-being for your mind, body, and spirit, then rest assured, this show is tailored just for you. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Rogers, the Sherlock Holmes of health. I'm a trailblazing Harvard-trained epidemiologist turned transformational health coach. Basically, I find the clues that every other healthcare practitioner missed because they were looking in the wrong place. Welcome back to The Bridge, a transformational health podcast with yours truly, Dr. Elizabeth Rogers. Hey, podcast family. I hope that you are feeling healthy and whole today, mind, body, and spirit. And the topic of today's show is actually about what happens when you're having a day when you're not feeling completely healthy and whole, mind, body, and spirit. So just this past week, I had a couple of days where I was feeling really off, and I'll explain in detail exactly what I mean by feeling really off. And when I was having those days, I was thinking of you all and I thought, wow, this is a really important topic. So I'm so glad that you're here today. I love you all so much. I hope you can feel my genuine heart and soul. And let's talk about this topic. Now, I know that you all know exactly what I mean. A lot of you, in fact, I know all of you have had many days over the course of your lifetime where you have felt off, disconnected, not whole, unwell, not aligned, mind, body, and spirit. And that can happen in a lot of different ways, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And this week, I had several days like that where even though I got a good night's sleep, I woke up and I felt energetically drained. And that's the best way that I can describe it. And because of that, I went through the day just continuing to feel energetically drained, feeling tired, feeling fatigued. And I want to talk with you about this topic because I know that a lot of you tend to push yourself in some way, shape, or form through days like that. And I talk with you about why that's not necessarily the best thing to do. Now, first, what I want to say, really important to say this, is that when you have a day where you're not feeling yourself, when you're not feeling whole and aligned, when you're not necessarily feeling completely healthy, you're still healthy. You can absolutely be healthy and be in a state of healing or transformation at the exact same time. It does not have to be an either or. It gets to be a both and. And as you all know, you get to have the both ands. And as you know, if you know me, you know I'm also a both and woman. I bridge the gap between science and spirit, between physical and energetic healing principles, between the traditional and the non-traditional. And I think that's really important that you recognize that you don't have to choose. If you're healing, it doesn't have to mean you're not healthy. And if you're healthy, it doesn't mean that you don't need or get to be free from healing. Because your health, your optimal health and well-being is just your natural state of being aligned and connected and whole, mind, body, and spirit. It does not mean that you will reach this time and place where you get to be completely and permanently free from symptoms, setbacks, and challenges. There will always be symptoms, setbacks, and challenges from time to time. And hopefully that will be the minority or the less frequent part of your journey. But inevitably, things happen. And I want to talk with you about what to do when you have days like that. I know that you've all had them. Sometimes you just wake up and you feel like you're, quote unquote, on the wrong side of the bed. You don't feel like yourself. Maybe you feel a little cranky, a little crabby. Maybe you feel a little anxious. Maybe you feel a little down and kind of depressed or sad. And maybe you've got a headache. Maybe your digestion feels a little wonky or off. And maybe you just have a day like I was having this week where you just feel drained. And I will tell you, when I have days like that, I now honor them. Now, when you have a day like that, here's what I want you to remember is that you are always a very high vibrational, high frequency being. But here on planet Earth, where you live your life, you are constantly experiencing other frequencies and energies in the form of other people, places, environments. And a lot of these things you can't necessarily see, feel, smell, touch, taste, or even sense, right? We don't necessarily know when a pathogen, like a virus or a bacteria in the environment, is invading our bodies. And then all of a sudden we wake up and we're not feeling well for a couple of days. We're having cold or flu like symptoms. That's an example of one way you can have a setback. Sometimes you can just feel fatigued, tired, energetically drained. And there can be a lot of different reasons for that. And you will always have experiences like that as long as you are a being living here on planet Earth. But you are still that high frequency, high vibrational being. That is a fact that never changes. And I will remind you, as I've talked about with you on many episodes, that you down to your core, down to your cellular and molecular level, are nothing more than energy. Energy is what creates everything that you are, including the third dimensional, very physical body that you're living in. But the fact that you are a high vibrational, high frequency being never changes. But as that high frequency, high vibrational being, you're constantly experiencing other types of energies. And as a result, they impact you because every person around you, including you, is constantly transmitting energy. So if you spend a day around maybe a bunch of people who don't really feel like your tribe or aren't as energetically aligned with you, don't lift you up, maybe they're negative in general, it wouldn't be a surprise to me if you told me the following day that you're not necessarily feeling energetically your best, or that you're feeling a little tired or drained. But the best thing you can do when you have days like that is allow the energy to transform and transmute. And how exactly do you do that? Well, as you know, on the days when you are feeling healthy, whole, aligned, very energized, mind, body, and spirit, those are the days when it's so easy and effortless for you to take good care of yourself, for you to eat healthy, for you to exercise, for you to do all of the things that you know you love and want to do to continue to be optimally healthy and well. But I'm sure, as you know, and we've all experienced, and I'm certainly no stranger to it, when you have days where you're feeling off in some capacity, you don't necessarily feel like you want to do that stuff, right? Maybe you feel like you want to stay in bed longer or maybe all day. Maybe you feel like you kind of just want to eat some junky food. Maybe you feel like you just kind of want to curl up on the couch and you don't really want to deal with people or do anything at all. And the truth is that that's okay. So I hope in this episode, what I can also do is help you give yourself the permission slip that you need to give yourself to meet yourself where you are. Now, I bet that a lot of you, when you do have days like that, you get up and you still think, okay. I have to do X, Y, and Z. I have to do this. I have to work. I have to take care of the kids. I have to exercise. I have to get this done. I've got to cook. I've got to clean. I have to do whatever it is that you've got in your mind that you have to or need to do. But what I want to remind you is that you need to let your heart, not your head, be your guide. And it's not serving you when you're forcing yourself to do all of those things that your brain's telling you you need, want, have to do, should do. A friend and colleague of mine, I've heard her say, when you're shoulding yourself, what are you doing? You're shoulding all over yourself, right? Kind of sounds like you're shitting all over yourself. And in a way, you kind of are. You kind of are. Now, I get that there may be some of you listening saying, well, I've got the kids, I've got this, I've got that, and I can't just not take care of them. I can't just not do X, Y, and Z. And I understand that. However, that doesn't mean that you cannot modify, that you cannot nurture yourself internally by turning inward in other ways. I want you to think about, what if you did have kids, or what if you, for those of you that do have kids, think about how you would treat your children if they told you they weren't feeling well, right? You wouldn't say, well, get out of bed because you're going to school anyway. You're going to do this anyway. You're going to clean your room anyway. Of course you don't do that. What do? You nurture them. You wrap them up in a hug. You pour your loving support all over them. You help them get under the covers and get all cozy and maybe just lay on the couch and watch cartoons all day. You make them some soup and some toast. When I was feeling unwell when I was a kid, my mom would make me toast and some soup, and I'd watch cartoons all day, and I'd curl up under a blanket on the couch. And sooner rather than later, I'd feel better again. But had she forced me to go to school, first of all, I would have infected everybody else with whatever I was sick with. And it would have taken me longer to heal because my body, my heart, my soul, my mind weren't getting the support and care that they needed, right? So, in the similar way, whether or not you have something that's an infectious illness or disease, if you force yourself to go out into the world and still conduct your business, do your work, all of your stuff, you still can infect others with that energy that you're radiating. Because like I said, we're constantly transmitting energy. There's nothing you can do to stop yourself. That is how powerful of a being you are. And I hope that as this show continues, I can really help you not only become more aware of your own power, but to step fully and completely into it so you can use it to the best of your ability, so that you can use it to continue to create and sustain optimal health and longevity, mind, body, and spirit. So I want you to treat yourself the way you would a loved one, whether it's a child, a partner, a family member, anyone that you unconditionally love. If your best friend called you and said, oh, I'm having a tough day. I'm feeling drained. I'm tired. You wouldn't say, girl, definitely you just need to suck it up, go to work, and deal with it. Of course, you wouldn't say that to your best friend. You'd listen, you'd nurture her, you'd be there for her, you'd give her some advice. Maybe you'd say, hey, do you want me to help you? Maybe make an Instacart order to get you some stuff, or drop something off at the house if you're lucky enough to live near your best friend. Treat yourself the way that you would someone else that you unconditionally love when they need nurturing care and support. Love yourself. Feel what your body needs. Connect with your heart and ask yourself, what do I need really here today? Maybe I just need to slow down. If I have to get a little bit of work done, what's the minimum I can do to still be present and then stop early? Maybe I just go to bed early. Maybe I sleep in just a little bit. Maybe I skip the gym today. Maybe I watch some cartoons. But when we push against that feeling and we force ourselves through the day, you're being counterproductive and counterintuitive. And in fact, you're not allowing that unwanted energy and feeling to transform and transmute as quickly as it could. When you slow down, take care of yourself, give yourself a break, maybe just do nothing, do less, When you honor that and you care for yourself in that way, what you're doing is you're allowing that energy and frequency to transmute and transform much faster. But so many of us, right, especially type A personalities, which I have a tendency to be, I'm not really sure what I am anymore. I just know that I'm the Queen of Heart, and wherever I go with all my heart. And I do now always honor exactly what I need. And the way I can prove that is that today's Saturday, and it's the first day I've recorded a podcast on the weekend. Why am I doing that? Because I was planning on recording a show for all of you on a different topic. One of the days over this past week that I woke up just not feeling aligned, not feeling my best. And I will never show up for you as anything other than my best, healthiest, most whole and aligned mind, body, and spirit, because it's important to me to show up with all my heart and soul for all of you and to be fully present so that we can deeply connect heart to heart here. And you know what that didn't mean that day? Anything at all. And I didn't make it mean anything. So that's another suggestion I have for you is don't make the lack of doing on a day where you're just not feeling whole and aligned or off in some capacity. Don't make it mean anything about you. Don't beat yourself up. In fact, the best thing you could do is be proud of yourself for honoring what your body needs. I hope that this is really helpful advice, and I hope that this helps those of you who tend to still continue to push yourself on a day when you're not feeling your best. I hope this helps you give yourself the permission you need to remember that the best thing you could do on a day like that is just love yourself, nurture yourself, and get out of your head, move into your heart, and feel, what do I really need today? And give yourself as much of that as you possibly can. Most especially, give yourself love. That is going to be the energy and the frequency that helps however you're feeling, whether it's a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual symptom or otherwise. It's going to help that transmute and transform even faster. And before you know it, you'll be back to feeling healthy, whole, aligned, and energized. I love you all so much. I hope you can feel my love pouring through today. It is with all the gratitude and love in the world that I say goodbye to you for today. If you are enjoying the show, I would absolutely love it, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave us an honest, positive 5-star review. And when you do, please send me a message and let me know so that I can return the good energy. I really believe in the flow of life. And as I said earlier, we are always all transmitting energy, and we can't not do it. We can't help it. We can't stop ourselves. It's part of who we are. And you always, always have the power to heal, to create optimal health and longevity, to realign with your natural state of wholeness, mind, body, and spirit. You always, always have that power. And I hope that I can always help you remember it, reflect on it, see it, find it, and use it. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day. I will be, as always, very excited to see you next time and connect with you again soon. Thanks for listening to today's episode of The Bridge, a transformational health podcast with Dr. Elizabeth Rogers. Before you go, I have a personal invitation for you. If you're looking for an expansive community to grow within outside of this podcast, one that provides value to you where you can access the most reliable, transformative, and effective knowledge, tools, and resources to create health and longevity of the highest quality, my incredible team and I created a very special place just for us. I want to personally invite you as a valued member of my podcast family, to join my Facebook group, the Women's Whole Health Revival. This group is for rising and established leaders who value your health as the foundation of everything else you do and create in this lifetime. Inside of this community, you'll be surrounded with like-minded, aligned people in a supportive environment. And I will be bringing you training, personal coaching, outside experts, and so much more that you will not be able to get anywhere else. Basically, it's the hottest party on the internet. We'll help each other continue to become the best and healthiest versions of ourselves so we can have an even bigger impact in the world. And we will have fun while we're doing it. Head over to Facebook or the link in the show notes to join. Tag me when you get inside the group so I can personally welcome you. I hope you can feel the big boost of positive energy I'm sending all around today. Can't wait to connect with you.